Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of the Hopeful Romantic M.A.N. podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Dropping Dimes, a.k.a. the Hopeful Romantic, a.k.a. the feminist with Chauvinist tendencies. I want to welcome everybody. We got a great show for you. Awesome topic. I want to talk about infidelity. But before I do that, let me set the ambiance here. As you know, I'm a big proponent of my Cess Candle by Queen Meech. It always makes my show go a little smoother, a little easier. Just light my bad boy up. Nice and easy. Here we go. Nothing like a nice candle to set the mood. Well, tonight we talk about the different ways men and women approach infidelity. I want to talk about what the act means to each side and how each side is affected by it. I always have questions. Can a couple move past infidelity? What are the steps to doing that? Sometimes you'll hear a lot about, I want her to be honest. Is honesty always the best policy? I know in a perfect world, is honesty always the best policy? What's worse? A man who is faithful or a man who can't provide? Don't answer that right away, because you'll be surprised how often the answer comes out of that. I know a lot of people be in the rush. Oh, I couldn't stand either of them. But that's not what we're doing here. We're talking about individually, which one is actually less tolerable for women, in my experience, in the conversations that I've had and the coaching that I've done. So I'm also going to go into my inbox. I have I got a pretty cool question, and hopefully there's enough audience to be able to help me to answer it. But I want you to get the insight from me. So with that said, let's take off. Let's do this. Infidelity is such a crazy word. And I'm always very careful to make blanket statements over what cheating is. Because I found over the years that one person's cheating is perfectly okay with the other person. What do I mean by that? It's definitely a conversation you have to have with your mate. You have to talk to them, and they have to let you know what their line is. Because everybody's line is different. I know some couples that they're like, flirt, have fun, enjoy, do that. Yeah, man, prove to yourself that you still have it. Go, walk that, toe that line. Cool, it's sexy, I like it. And then I have the other side of that, where I have people that no new friends at all. I don't want you bringing anybody new into this relationship. I don't want you sharing thoughts, emotions, feelings with anybody. So I generally go by a rule of thumb. My rule of thumb is, if my partner can't find out about it, then I'm probably towing the line of cheating. If I have to hide the conversation, if I have to hide the text, if I have to hide the dinner that we went on, then there's a good chance that I am now walking the fine line between being unfaithful. Now, here's the thing. For some people, unfaithful means sex. Oh, you didn't have sex with them? Cool, that's fine. Then you were not unfaithful. With others, you shared an intimate conversation with someone other than me. Oh my God, I can't believe you cheated on me. Not to mention the way men and women react to cheating. I think men, in just my opinion, men are very territorial over their woman's body. I know women Be like, no, what do you mean, territory? You don't own me. That's not what I mean. What I mean is that to him, the first line of defense is your body is his. Like he's like that's the privilege you've given me about being in this relationship. One of the privileges is that your body is exclusively mine. What I get to see, no other man gets to see. What I get to touch, no other man gets to touch. That is my privilege when I'm with you. That's what you grant me by saying you're in a relationship with me. So when a woman cheats, and guys, you could attest to this, a lot of times the first question a man asks is, "Did you f him, or did you suck his?" That's the first question we ask. Not, "Oh, are you with him or do you love him?" Honestly, no, that's not the first question. We want to know, did you sleep with him? Why do we want to know that? Here's what I'm really asking you. Is he more man than me? If he's more man than me, then my ego can't take it. I don't want to be here. This relationship is over. If you could prove to me that he's not more man than me and that he couldn't light a candle to me, there's a good chance that you helped restore my ego right on time and I stay with you. And I know a lot of guys are listening. Hell no, man. That's bullshit. Well, let me explain something to you. What makes me so good at what I do is I've learned to give advice and I've learned to do two things while doing it. Number one, I learned to finish the sentence. I'll explain what that means. All right, so that's the primary thing. The other one is I keep two things. I omit two things from the advice that I'm giving. I omit. I keep my ego out of it, and I don't introduce it so that I can give you the best advice that fits you in your situation. The other thing I keep out of it is my past. I 100% keep my past out of my advice with you because what's happened to me and the way I approached it, things I did, don't necessarily apply to you, and they don't necessarily mean that you're going to go down the same road that I did. So what I do is I keep that out. So let's address the first thing. The first thing is I finish the sentence. So for instance, if I'm going to tell you about, let's say, cheating, and I'm going to give you advice, my advice, I finish the sentence by saying something like this. If when I was leading with my ego, and I'm like, hell no, you better not get back with her, man. You stupid, bro. Da 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 da. I've learned to finish the sentence saying, because when I went through it, right? Because as opposed to making my friend or the person that I'm talking to feel like an idiot for not seeing it, for being blind. No, I've learned to either A, let them know that, hey, let me finish this. I've been in your shoes. That way it kind of helps put their guard down and they know that the advice is coming from a position of that I've been there. That's if I choose to use that. The other one is my ego. With the ego, it's important to understand that that's what you hope you would do in that situation. That's what you would want to do in that situation. It's not necessarily how you would react. You would want to think that you would leave your kid's mother. You would think that you would want to leave that relationship, that you would want to leave that marriage. That's what you think you would want to do. But until you walk those shoes, until you have to move out, leave your children behind, until you have to, leave your job, until you have to make a major life decision, until you see everything you work for go up in smoke, you can't give that type of advice with your ego. You can't because you don't know how you would react in that moment. You don't. And I know a lot of people are stubborn and nah, man, I would hell no. And that and yo, God bless you. I hope, hey, that's what you're saying. Then I hope that that's how you would react. But the truth is, you don't know. You don't know until you walk around that person's shoes. And when you do that and you understand everything that comes with it, with that decision, then you might change your mind. So, like I said, when I'm giving this advice, I definitely let them know, like, hey, look, I'm not judging you. Whatever route you want to go, if you feel that's best for you, if you like it, I love it. You know what I mean? Like, now don't get me wrong, if I feel like there's domestic violence or something like that, then by all means, I might take a completely different approach. But we're talking about infidelity here. So, I always make sure you gotta understand you don't know how you're gonna react. You know? So like I said, so when a woman cheats, a man's gonna go and he's gonna ask, did you sleep with him? And like I said, what he's asking is he more man than me? Because once that ego gets hit and you realize, and she lets you know, yeah, he was, you know what I mean? Because the truth is this, right? And this is gonna sound funny as hell, and it's crazy because it's actually probably more dangerous than the sex. If she expresses that she had some type of emotional connection with this person, that's where you should probably be really hurt and upset and pissed, right? Because that connection to her is much deeper than something physical. It requires that step is required to get physical, right? Let's assume. But no, we don't think that. We think that, I'm territorial of her body. She cheated. Did she give it up? I can't believe this whore. This is some bullshit. Oh my God, I can't. How could you do this to me? That's when the guy flips out. Now let's talk about when a man cheats. When a man cheats, very rarely does a woman assume that they didn't have sex. Or does she really dive into the sex part of it? The question that I've found, and in my past, and a lot of people that I talk to past, comes up is the female will ask you, or the woman will ask, do you love her? Or basically, are your feelings strong for her? Do you have feelings for her? Why do women ask that question? Because they're territorial over our emotions. They want to be the sole thing in our universe that we care about, that we love. So what she's really asking you is, do you love her more than me? Because if you do, then this isn't going to work. This is not going to work if you love her more than you love me. You know? Now, if you can prove that no, it was just physical, it didn't mean anything. That's why that line was birthed. That's where that line comes from. No, it didn't mean anything. No, I love you. She didn't mean anything. It was. That's why guys say that. Guys say that because they understand that if you can cross that threshold where it wasn't emotional and convince her that it was not that she's going to forgive you, but there's a better chance of her letting you back in the house. There's a better chance of her letting you back in the house. As opposed to she's pressing you and you tell her, yeah, I care about her. Once you tell her you care about her, it's hard to come back from that. It's very hard to come back from that because now you gave away something that she thought was hers. Your emotions, your feelings, your heart, your mind, these things are hers. That's not right what you just did. And I've been in this situation before. I've been in this situation when I was coming up. And it's crazy because I hadn't had sex with the person. And I thought I was just kind of like putting it out there like it's not a big deal, that I was sharing, that me and you were having problems. And I went to this bar and I shared emotions and I shared feelings with this girl. I told her I was stressing, da 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 da. I'm thinking, Mike, you did the right thing. You didn't sleep with her. You just, kind of gave up that. Man, A punch in the face later, I realized how mad I messed up. Like, no, Papa, I don't want to hear that shit. You gave up something that was mine. You gave up your emotions, your feelings. You emotionally cheated on me. So that makes me always go back and think, what are the different types of cheating? What are the different types of cheating and infidelity? And it's not as simple as you think, because let's go like this. First, there's obviously physical, where you got physical with somebody else. You broke your vows, you crossed, or your relationship, because you crossed that line with somebody else and you got physical with them. Another type of cheating is an emotional cheat, where you ran to somebody's arms when you were going through something, and you didn't go to your partner's arms. You went to their arms and you rested there, and that's usually the precursor to something physical. And you let out a lot of emotions and you complained about your partner, and basically a lot of what you shared is not something that you can repeat to your partner, or you would want your partner to hear. There's financial cheating. There's financial cheating, which is rarely talked about, where you redirecting funds that belong in your house to keep the party going with other people, or to help a woman that's outside of your house, to help pay for certain things, maybe maintaining somebody's lifestyle outside of your house. That's absolutely a major part of cheating. There's there's so many different types of cheating. There is also, let's see, there's so many different types of cheating. You got to be careful that you don't cross those. But like I said, that's up to you and your partner. That's up to you and your partner to discuss. Now the question is, can a couple move past an infidelity? Couples do it every day. Every single day, couples line up, and couples go through things, and couples survive. So I don't know, like it could be. Let me see. Sorry about that. Sorry about this, ladies and gentlemen. Just making sure that I'm got some housekeeping stuff ready to go. Yeah. So can a couple move past it? Yeah, they can. I always tell men, when you're a good man, and I know this is the argument I get into all the time. Is it an accident, or is it a mistake? Or is there such thing? Now, to be fully transparent, as somebody who's been down that road, I have to believe that man, I have to believe that yes, you can, because it's I genuinely believe you can make a mistake. You're not perfect. You're not Jesus. Oh, that's not a mistake. You slept with them. You did this. You did that. Da 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 da. Listen to me. That's not what I mean when I say mistake. What I mean is something that you instantly regret. You instantly regret that you did it. You know what I mean? To me, that right there is a big deal. If I instantly regret that I did it, and like I said before, a lot of times a good man is harder on himself than the woman his life is on him. That guilt that you carry, That's a lot. You know what I mean? And I always say best apology, the best apology is change. That's the best apology. It's the only way that a couple can get past it. Here's one thing that I've always said though, and maybe we'll see what people think about this. And please chime in if you don't agree with me. I'm okay with that. A woman will forgive one infidelity, one, the first. She'll forgive that much quicker than she will forgive a man who does not provide for her or does not help her feel safe and secure. What do I mean by that? I mean that, and people be like, no, it's not true. If a man cheats, F that, he's out of here. Yeah, we'd like to think so. But every single one of you have a girlfriend that took their man back. Every single one of you. So let's not act like, again, let's not answer this question with your ego. Every single one of you has 100% or 100% as a friend or family member that took a cheater back or took somebody that is still cheating on them back. So let's not act like people don't forgive that. Let's not do that. But I'll tell you what a woman will not forgive. So let me set the scenario. You're with your man. You guys have a nice house, good home. Yo, 10 years together. It's been great. You have no complaints about him. Sex life is amazing. He's just a great guy. He went on a business meeting, came back. Babe, I messed up one time. You're looking around at your house, looking at your kids in the face, their school that they go to, everything. You know what? It hurts. It sucks. It hurts. It sucks. Let's move past it. Let's work through it. I trust that it was a mistake. Now, let me put you this scenario. We're behind on the rent. My car's about to get repoed. Your ass keeps losing your job because you're always late. So you can't keep a job. You don't contribute any money to the house. Which one of those two guys do you think is gone first? The guy who made the mistake stepped out, right? As if unfaithful? Or the guy, the bum on the couch that, has the bills are behind and the car note is about to get repoed and all he does is sit there and smoke blunts? Which one do you think is gone first? In my opinion, the guy that's gone first is the one that can't provide. See, back in the day, the leading cause of divorce was what? The finances. It wasn't infidelity. That's before. Lately, the stats have shifted, right? But here's something cool. When you go into those stats, how many of those infidelities, right, if you dig deeper, are also attached to financial problems? A large number of them. It's never just infidelity. That's what broke the camel's back. That's what maybe like, oh, you have on top of the fact that you're not doing what you got to do at home, on top of the fact that you don't treat right, boom, on top of that, you're unfaithful. I've heard women say this, man. This is the craziest thing to me. He was the most amazing man. He was just a cheater. If he didn't cheat so much, he would have been the perfect man. Never, ever, ever, ever have I heard. He was the most amazing man. He just had me living broke. He just couldn't pay shit. Those never go together. Never. You don't attach great man, amazing, awesome with, he had me living like shit. It never happens. Now, but a woman will tell you how great a guy is and how amazing he is and how, oh my God, he was the best. But he cheated. but he cheated. Like as in, it's a forgivable offense. It was as a character flaw. You know what I mean? It was a character flaw. It's not anything, You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah. So that's my opinion. I'll tell you right now. So let's recap. I feel like women are territorial of your emotions. They want to know that they're the center of your universe, that you love them, that they're the one. Men are territorial over your body, and they want to know that they're the man in your life, that they're the masculine, that they're the beast in your life. That's what they want to know. So when a man shares his emotions with another woman, a woman has to ask, is what she's really asking is, do you love her? Because if you love her, then we can't work this out. Because I need to be number one. What he's asking, when he asks, did you have sex with him? Did you sleep with him? He's 100% asking, is he more man than me? Is his piece bigger than mine? Was he better than me? What he's asking you is he more man than me? If he's more man than me, then this is no longer my place. I don't want to be here. I need to be top dog. If I can't be top dog, this is over. It's not going to work. I'm out of here. You know. Now I'm going to pause, take a quick commercial. As you know, I lit my Queen Meats candle, and I absolutely love it. So, this episode of the Hopeful Romantic Podcast, M.A.N. podcast, has been brought to you by Queen Meats. In this life, some people are in a rush to reach their destination. Others prefer to enjoy the ride. Some drink to get drunk, and some savor the taste of fine wine or a good meal. If you're on the latter, sit back and delight in a unique journey with Queen Meats International. Her scents and unique infusion methods are designed to take the proverbial edge out of life. Queen Meats' number one goal is to guide you down a more sophisticated and gentle hemp experience. Perfect for meditation, yoga, or turning down from the stress of daily life. Backed by hours of research, our candles are made from a unique blend of imported oils and a wick that burns slower and cleaner to get the most out of your investment. If you're someone who enjoys the finer things in life, we would love to be your introduction to the high life. You can find us on Instagram at Queen Meats International, at thequeenmeats@gmail.com, or online at www.queenmeats.com. You could also send me a text or an email to dropindimes@gmail.com, M-A-N dropindimes@gmail.com, mandropindimes@gmail.com, and I will forward you any information. I'm also going to put the link down below for anybody that's interested. Like I said, I live by them. I absolutely love the candles, especially the Cess candle that's out now. It's phenomenal. All right. Now we're on to the question from my inbox. Keep them coming, people. Let me tell you, it's M-A-N dropping, DROPNDIMES 420 at gmail.com. Man dropping dimes 420 at gmail.com. Don't hesitate to send me. I got a shitload of to get back to still, but I don't mind. Just keep loading them up. The more the merrier. The more I'll be able to dig into the box. All right. Okay. Dear dropping dimes. My man moved in 3 months ago. Things have been a bit tense since I have 3 children. It's taken some getting used to. He is very laid back, and I'm afraid he's not going to earn their respect. My oldest is especially difficult. Their dad is not in the picture. I don't want my man catching a side eye from my kids. What can I do to improve the situation? That's a great question, man. And I'm sure there are plenty of people out there that are in a very similar situation, especially if they're back out dating, they're meeting new people, they're single mothers. So I think maybe I can give you a little something that'll help. Again, I don't have the perfect formula for something like this. I don't know your house, your dynamic in your house. I don't know the history of these children. I don't know if there's trauma. I don't know if they've been through, what they've been through. But I'm going to give you two pieces of advice. Actually, a couple more than that, but let's start with two. The first piece of advice is have a conversation with your children. Not to be confused with ask them for permission. It's have a conversation with your children. I feel like one of the most important things is giving your children an understanding of how their life is going to change or what it's going to look like moving forward. Too often we get absorbed with our own happiness and just taking off and being it's about me right now. I just want to be happy. And you make moves. And you have the right to be happy. You 100% have the right to be happy. And you don't have to ask permission to be happy. You don't have to ask it from your children, your family. You don't have to ask it from anyone. You have the absolute right to be happy. But at least have a conversation letting your children know this is what comes next in your life. Imagine as a child, you're continuously walking into dark rooms. You're continuously walking into dark rooms, and you don't know what's going to come on when the light turns on. It's just a matter of, next room, let's go, next room, and the light turns on, and it's one day it's this, one day it's that. And you literally, as a child, you have to adjust to what's going on. And you have to figure it out. You're like, oh, okay. And you love your mom, but sometimes the situations that you're in is uncomfortable. Sometimes it's comfortable. One day, you're allowed to sit in the living room listening to music, dancing with your sisters and brothers. The next day, there's new guys here. Oh, no, you can't do that. Everybody quiet. It's quiet time. Whoa, what happened? What changed? So number one is have a conversation with your children and let them know. I would have preferred you to have it before the person moved in. Before they moved in, to have the conversation so that they understand what their life is going to look like. Hey, look, you guys want mommy happy? Mommy deserves to be happy, right? Well, look, I'm going to explain something to you. This is what I'm looking forward to. And this is what I need from you. And the expectations and the guidelines. And then you be consistent with how you enforce those guidelines and those rules, boundaries, and limitations. You be consistent with that and let them know this is what it is. Number two, do not shove this new person down their throat. One of the biggest mistakes that I see from single mothers, single fathers too, by the way, is they're in a rush to kind of make up for that missing piece in what they perceived in their child's life. So they're quick and they try to force the bond. So they'll be like, oh, go play video games with him. Go talk to him. Or especially when they get frustrated. Oh, you go talk to him. And then now you walking over there, and the first thing in this kid's mind is like, this mofo is not my father. Why are you doing this? The last guy tried to do this? Or how many guys have been online to try to do this? So absolutely do not force your child to have a relationship with any man. Any man. Here's how that man can gain their respect. Now, I'm giving this advice because not only have I walked this walk, but I also witnessed somebody do this brilliantly where they're in my respect. What I found is that way before a kid reacts to how you treat him, he's already made his decision based on how he feels you treat his mother. Or not even his mother, but also their situation. That's what a kid is watching. He's watching to see how you walk. If you walk in overly cocky, dominant, trying to change rules and da right away, trust me, he's gonna pump your brakes and he's gonna lose respect for you. If you come in slowly, respect his mother, and be that example to him on how he should treat a woman. Be the example on how he should treat a woman. Show him, be gentle with her. Talk to her kindly. Go above and beyond for her. Show him the love that you have for her. Show him the respect that you have for her. Show him the respect that you have for their space and how grateful you are that he's allowed you in. Don't just come in sliding in, taking over. Oh, yeah, I'm here now. It's my, I pay the rent. Here's my house. That's not how that works. In theory, yes, that's your house. You pay the rent. Right? I mean, in fact. But the truth is, if you want to be a happy camper, you have to, that's not how you mark your territory. You don't mark it as an individual. You mark it as a community, meaning you don't mark it individually as in this is my house. You mark it as a collective as in this is our house. And you let them know that this is ours. This is something that I'm helping build with you. You have, I don't want to say you have a say, but more so you're gonna be informed at different steps in this process. We're not just going to railroad you. See, this is why all my life, right? Whenever I've dated single moms, I always would tell them, hey, listen, do me a favor. If I feel like it's going to get to the point where, I might stay over, I definitely hit them with the, hey, does your son or daughter sleep in the bed with you? Oh, yeah, my king, my son sleeps with me, da-da-da. I tell them, hey, listen, do me a favor. Make sure you put your son in his own room, in his own bed before me and you, before any night that I stay over. I need him to sleep in his own room, in his own bed, at least 3 or 4 nights before I ever sleep over your house or I ever come over. Why do I do that? I do that because I don't want to be the reason your son thinks he can't sleep with his mom anymore. I don't want your son to feel like I'm replacing him. I don't want your son to feel like I'm infringing on his life. That's not fair. I was here. I don't want that. I don't want him to look at me as an equal, as in you took what's mine and mine. No, we're not equal. You're a child. And I'm not taking your space. Now that you no longer occupy it, now I will take this space. I say the same thing about the head of the table. How many times have I been to someone's house and they put me at the head of the table after we've been dating for a little while, and I'm getting side-eyed by the child. I'm getting dirty looks and attitude, and now all of a sudden they don't want the chicken and they don't want to eat, and I'm like, oh, what happened here? What the hell's going on? Only to learn that the reason they're pissed off is because I'm sitting in their seat. And nobody bothered to have a conversation with them about how their rightful position is not the head of the household. Their rightful position is not the king of the house. Mommy's the queen. You could be a prince, but you're not the king of this house. You don't pay bills here. You are somebody that benefits from all the hard work that happens in this house, and we love you, but you don't sit at the head of the table. That way, he doesn't associate with me All of a sudden, I'm sitting at the end of the table and he wants to hit me with some broccoli in the face because this guy took my spot. No, I didn't take your spot. I did not take your spot. But it's important to have that conversation. And I find that in this letter you just sent me, there was no conversation that was had. So your kids are basically in limbo, left to fend for themselves to figure out who this asshole is. That's what they're doing. They're literally just figuring it out. Like, who is this asshole? What? This is our house. All of a sudden, a new person shows up. Oh, really? Nah, I don't like this. And I'm going to show you that I don't like it. And now this poor guy who's innocent, who's probably a great, amazing person, is catching all kinds of bullshit because you didn't do your due diligence. Your due diligence is to sit and let your children know what their future holds, what it's going to look like, how it's going to be better. You know what I mean? There are some changes that are going to be uncomfortable. Now maybe, you took that shower at 8 o'clock every morning. I'm going to need you to either take the shower at 7:25 or 8:30 because he has to get to work. Football practice. Hey, maybe on Tuesdays and Thursdays he might have to pick you up because I have to work late. You know, um, that particular uh, mixture of drink that's in the refrigerator. Hey, listen, let's respect it. That's his. He doesn't ask for much. He walks home. He comes home. He that's the one thing he enjoys. Just leave that for him. Again, nothing out of this world that's gonna destroy their world. But you have to talk to them, and you kind of gotta let them know, like, hey, man, listen, this is what it is. You know, hey, on Sundays, let's not make a lot of noise on Sunday morning because it's his only day off. So that's how it's gonna. And you just tell them what it looks like. You'll be surprised how well kids take things when they feel like they're part of the team. Not necessarily part of the decision making process, but when they feel like they're part of the team, when they feel like they're in the now and they understand what's coming ahead of them, they start speaking up. No, no, on Sundays we don't make noise because Mike has to sleep and he works. It's his only day off. Now all of a sudden they are able to say that and answer that question. And for the man in your life, like I said, if he doesn't want that side eye, his only job is to model good behavior. With that will come a level of respect. With that will come a voice in that house. He has to. That's the way he earns it. He earns it by how he treats you and the energy he puts off on how he treats you. They're watching. Now, I went back and I said that I could tell you by experience, but I could also tell you, my stepfather, God rest his soul, serious guy, kind of a dry personality, but very nice, very kind, but a dry personality. Not one for small talk. Not very social. Kind, but not very social. I remember as a grown man meeting him, and I'm like, who is this dude? My mom never really had boyfriends like that, so it was always like, this is new to me. I'm like, who's this guy? All right, I'll see what's up. So I'm gonna feel him out. When I go to feel him out, then what I realize I don't have any say in this relationship. I'm a grown ass man. My mom's grown, but what I'll tell you that really captivated me and that made me instantly respect this man and grow to love him was how he treated my mother. He treated my mother. He spoiled the hell out of her, and he treated her like he was wearing kid gloves. It was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. How he would cook breakfast for her. He would take care of her. He would take her to her doctor's appointment. Everything that she needed. He was just the sweetest gentleman to her. And he was an amazing. Actually, in my book, I have a dedication. One of the dedications to him because he was the example of just an amazing man. But I knew that my relationship with him had very little to do with what me and him had in common. It had very little to do with me liking him personally. It had everything to do with me falling in love with the way he treated my mom and the respect that I had for him because of how he treated my mother. And I'm telling you, in this situation that you just in my inbox, your kids, no matter how old, they're watching. They don't want to be in competition. They don't want to be fighting for attention. They don't want to be explaining how their lifestyle has changed and they don't know why. What they want to do is they want to watch you. They're watching him. They're paying attention to the words that he uses when he addresses you, how he addresses you. They're sitting back and watching the energy speak for itself. A lot of times, I don't believe it where there's smoke, there's fire. And a lot of times, you'll have a child or kids, they can't stand the stepfather. And you're like, right away, people are like, oh, these kids, these kids, these kids. I'd be very careful. A lot of times where there's smoke, there's fire. And these kids saw something, heard something, watched something, felt something about how that man or whatever treated their mom or treated their family. They saw something. I'm not saying they got the full picture. I'm not even saying they're right, but they saw something because that's what kids do. They observe. They're watching you. They're paying attention to you. You know what? He'll never just. It's not going to happen where he goes into the room, sits next to him, and they just start playing video games. He has to. That boy or girl has to have seen something in him first that allows for that next step. He has to see something in him first that allows for that next step. Without that, there will be no relationship. If he comes in there trying to be daddy from day one, that's the quickest way to get rejected by a child. Come in trying to take over a title you haven't earned. That is the quickest way to be rejected by a child. That's the quickest way to get that side eye you're talking about. Know your position. Understand your role. Your role is to model good behavior. Your role is to model how a man should treat a woman. That is your job. All those little eyes, they're watching you. And they're absorbing how you treat their mom. Once they feel comfortable and they understand your personality and how you are with their mother, that it's a positive, that's a beautiful thing, you'll see how quickly they adapt. Well, kids are strong, man. Kids are strong. They adapt. That combined with a strong conversation and open communication about what their life is going to look like, I promise you it'll do wonders. I promise you it'll do wonders. But hey, we'll see. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so this is the Hopeful Romantic M.A.N podcast. And what I want to do now is I want to put the offer out. I'm looking for ladies and gentlemen that enjoy talking about relationships, that have a point of view, that are not just regurgitating what they see on the news or the hot topic on the internet. I want people with original thoughts, whether it's slick, funny, ratchet, I don't care. But I want you to share it. I want you to talk to me. I want to have a fair exchange of information about these different relationships, about male vulnerability, about feminine, masculine, about why are people getting married? Is marriage the it thing? Is it out? Raising children, work balance and trying to live, a happy life, all that. I want to have every one of those conversations, and I want you to be a part of it. If you would enjoy talking about these things, slide me a DM on Instagram at Mr. underscore dropping dimes, or you can send me an email at mandroppingdimes420 at gmail. You can hit me up on Facebook at Mike Navarrete, which is my regular page, or at any of the Dropping Dimes group pages. But definitely hit me up. If you're married, single, divorced, newly dating, you've been dating, you've decided not to date, you're celibate, you're living your best life, you're going out there slinging dick or slinging, eating, wilding out. I want it all. I want the full range, and I want to talk about in an honest, open conversation. Like I said, I don't want to regurgitate these lines that you'll see on the internet, what these guys are saying, these girls are saying, or a show. No, 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 no. I'm gonna test you to go deeper in your thought, and I need some people that are layers deep in their arguments and in the way they're thinking. And I also need people that are going to take the conversation and really absorb what, maybe a change in idea. Oh wow, I agree now. Oh man, I didn't think of it that way. That's what I want. I want somebody to be open so that we can, like I said, discuss any topic. Sex is not off the table. You know what I mean? I want somebody that's sex during marriage, sex before marriage. What are you looking for from your husband? What are you looking for from your wife? What's something a woman needs to give advice to men? What's something you would like them to do during sex? You want them to slow down? What's something a man wants a woman to do? Does a man censor himself when he makes sexual requests? Because she might think we're a pig if we really ask for what we wanted. All kinds of things. There's so many avenues we can go down. You just got divorced. Let's talk about divorce. Let's talk about going back out into the real world and dating again nowadays. Let's talk about online dating. Let's talk about whatever it is, whatever road you want to go down. Let's do it. Because I feel like there's a lot of conversations that are left on the table. And I feel like a lot of people are too busy trying to look cool and give the cool answer and answering with their ego, that a lot of times real world people, everyday people don't get the truth. I always talk about that bell curve. These niche programs, they address here and they address here. But most of us are in the middle. Let's talk to the people in the middle. Let's talk about what you're really going through. You want to talk about heartbreak? Let's talk about heartbreak. Let's talk about bouncing back from heartbreak. Let's talk about the truth about love, about how it's not always enough. Let's talk about, how, you overcome and how you have to dealing with a heart you didn't break and the trauma and dealing with, what do you really want these days? That and so much more. But I'm looking forward to meeting people, to talking to people, to bringing them on the show and having these conversations in an open forum where we can really let out an adult format conversation where we can talk about it. And pull no punches, let each other know, agree to disagree. It's all love. It's all love. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you didn't catch it live, please catch it on Amazon, Spotify, iHeart, or wherever you get your podcast fix. This has been the Hopeful Romantic M.A.N. podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Dropping Dimes, a.k.a. the Hopeful Romantic, a.k.a. the feminist with Chauvinist tendencies. Mark Twain said the two most important days of your life are the day you were born and the day you discover why. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Hopeful Romantic M.A.N. podcast, thank you for helping me walk in my why.